G'day gymnastic skill seekers and welcome back to another post. I guess you could say this is a training vlog, but what I really want to talk about is different strength methods that we can use to build strength, increase flexibility and unlock new gymnastic skills. If you've been following my post, you would have seen that in the last 6 weeks I've been working on the 5-4-3-2-1 strength method. In the last week of that, I set new 1RMs on my overhead press, my chin-ups and my dips. So now I'm going to take that 1RM load and I'm going to do it for 3 repetitions in week 1 of my new strength phase. So you might be wondering, well, how am I going to lift my 1RM for 3 repetitions? Well, say hello to emphasizing eccentrics training. We are between 120 to 170% stronger in the eccentric phase of an exercise than we are in the concentric phase. We are stronger at lowering weights than we are at lifting weights. So when you say, I'm going to the gym to lift some weights and get strong, you should be really saying, I'm going to the gym to lower some weights and get strong. So what does this mean? Well, this means we can work at really high intensities. We can go above 100% of our 1RM, because remember, this is concentric lifting, and use this to build superhuman levels of strength. Well, that's the idea. So you might be wondering why eccentrics are so powerful. Well, during the eccentric motion of a lift, this could be an overhead press, a pull-up, a bicep curl, or a squat. The muscles are contracting but lengthening, okay? So there's a lot of tension within the muscle, and this helps us to grow in both strength and muscle size. So Nautilus founder Arthur Jones got the ball rolling back in the 70s when he popularized eccentric training in athletic fitness and bodybuilding magazines. He actually custom built certain machines that could be used for eccentric only training. So an example of this was a shoulder press, and what he had like a foot pad that you would do like a leg press with that would lift the weight up for you. Then you'd take your foot off the pad and you'd just work on eccentrically lowering the shoulder press. And this is one way to emphasize the eccentric on the shoulder press. Since then, there's been considerable research done around eccentric training to determine, the best ways that we can use this. So here's what we know. We are stronger in the eccentric phase, as much as 175% stronger. We have the strength to lower more weight than we can lift, and we can increase the muscle strength and size by overloading the muscle and performing slow, controlled eccentrics. Controlled eccentrics increase both strength and size. So by lowering the weight under control and not letting gravity take over, we can increase both strength and size of the muscle. So as long as we're performing the eccentrics at a high intensity and with a really slow tempo, we're going to get higher levels of protein synthesis. Studies that compared eccentric only training to concentric only training found that eccentric training is far superior at producing lean muscle growth. Eccentrics also save energy and allow us to do more work. So in the eccentric phase of a lift, we use less ATP, less energy than the concentric phase. So this means we can perform more sets and more reps if we're just doing eccentric only training, which has positive implications on strength and size gains. As I've already mentioned, eccentrics allow us to train at a much higher intensity. If we're doing concentrics, we're going to be training at sub-maximal loads. We're not going to be doing our 1RM all the time. We're going to be working, let's say it's back at the 80 to 85% intensity. But when we're working eccentric only phases, we can be working in 100 to 175% of our 1RM, thus producing greater strength and greater adaptations. So studies show that heavy negatives increase motor muscle unit recruitment, protein synthesis, and increase growth hormone compared to lighter loads. Slow eccentrics increase speed and power. So a proven benefit to eccentrics is greater concentric power. A lot of people focus on doing a lot of plyometrics and sprints for increasing power, which is great. They've definitely got their benefits, but we overlook the benefits of doing slow eccentrics. The research suggests that greater intensities of load increase muscle tension and cross-bridging of the fibers, allowing athletes to produce greater levels of explosive power. Eccentric training has also been shown to increase the strength of the tendons and the connective tissues, which decreases the chance of injury. We often see eccentric training being used in rehabilitation exercises, but we can include eccentric training into our program as a preventative to injury. Eccentric training is also good for increasing flexibility. It's actually much more effective than static stretching. It works because we're increasing muscle fiber growth, meaning the muscle becomes longer and you get more flexibility as long as you're training the full range of motion. And that's just some of the benefits of eccentric training. The research goes on, but you can see how powerful eccentric training can be in terms of building strength, increasing flexibility, and adding lean muscle mass. And this is my goal for the next training phase. I'm going to spend 6 weeks just focusing on the emphasis of the eccentric phase, so eccentric only repetitions. This is going to be just 2 days a week. So on a Monday, I'm going to focus on wide grip pull-ups, and I'm going to focus on eccentric push press. For the wide grip pull-ups, I'm going to be using 25 kilos. This is my rough guess of my 1RM right now on the pull-up. In the push press, I know that I can strict press 65 kilos. So I'm going to use that 65 kilos and use the push press or power jerk to get the bar above my head and then control the eccentric phase. Both of these are going to be done for 6 sets of 3. I'm going to be working 8 seconds eccentric in the eccentric phase. So from top to bottom, it's going to take me 8 seconds to lower the weight, lower the pull-up, lower the push press. I'm going to add some Bs to this. The Bs are going to be a trap 3 raise and a shoulder external rotation Cuban press. These are just shoulder prehab exercises, and I want to make sure that I'm strengthening the small stabilization muscles of the shoulder as I'm building strength in the big primary movers of the shoulder. So this is just making sure, or again, it's just sort of prehab around the shoulder. On Friday, I'm going to be doing P-bar dips, and I'm going to be doing chin-ups with a narrow grip, so close grip here on the chin-ups. Again, it's 6 sets of 3 reps, and again, we're focusing on an 8-second eccentric. I know my 1RM dip was 25 kilos, and my 1RM chin-up was 40 kilos. So the aim is to use those weights in week 1 for 6 sets of 3 reps with an 8-second eccentric. Again, there are some Bs here, and again, they're just shoulder prehab exercises. I've got a lateral seated raise, polyquin version, 3 sets of 8 to 12, and I'm going to do some reverse flies, standing bent over, again, 3 sets of 8 to 12. So these weights need to be quite high. The intensity of this program needs to be quite high, and that's what's going to elicit the strength gains. So we're starting at 100%, 100% of my 1RM concentric movement. And in the weeks ahead, I'm going to try to add 5 to 10% as the weeks go on. Come week 6, I hope, what I'm going to do is I'm going to not do a 1RM test. I'm actually going to go back to my previous 1RM weight and see how many repetitions I can do. So for example, I know that my 1RM on the strict overhead press is 65 kilos. So I'm going to put that on the bar and then see how many repetitions I can do. If I can do 2 or more, then I know my 1RM on the strict press has increased and this phase has been a success. Now, I see this phase as a functional strength training phase. If you're not sure what that means, then you can go and check out this post where I talk about functional strength training. So we need to be looking at the duration of the entire set. And if I'm doing 3 reps with an 8-second eccentric, then the time under tension for that is 24 seconds. So it falls between the 20 to 40 seconds of time under tension in the functional hypertrophy strength training bracket. Why the Bs? I've already spoken about the Bs. They're mainly to keep the shoulder healthy and to work on the small stabilization muscles in the shoulder because the strength of the big primary movers is going to be going up, and I need the shoulders to be strong and stable so that they can handle the demands of the force output here. Is this all I'm doing? Well, no, this is just the strength components for the next 6 weeks. I'm also working on a flexibility program, which is 3 sessions a week. And I'm also doing some gymnastic strength training, which is 3 sessions a week. And I also have a lower body day, which is just 1 session. So typically on a Monday and Friday, I do the strength session in the AM, and then I do my flexibility and my gymnastic strength training in the PM. On a Wednesday, I'm just doing flexibility and gymnastic strength training. On the weekend, I'm doing my lower body strength training. So it's 4 days of training a week and just combining in all of these things, strength, flexibility, and skill work, the gymnastics training, into the structure of my week. It's a lot in 1 week, but I really enjoy it. And at the moment, I'm making good progress with this. So I'm going to continue with it to see how I go. If you're looking to increase your strength, you might want to give the Emphasizing Eccentrics method a try. If you need help with the program, then visit www.tstmethod.com. If you want to follow my progress with this next training phase, then I suggest you jump onto Instagram and look at stretch.rayner, R-A-Y-N-E-R, and I'll be posting stories on Monday and Friday with my progress on this Emphasizing Eccentric training method. Until next time, happy strength training.